What's up, bro?
I like your shades, bro.
You too, you too.
How
So
you
where
doing?
I'm good, man. Whereabouts are you right now? Are you in LA?
I'm in Los Angeles, brother. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So for people who don't know, why don't you give us a little bit of backstory on kind of how you got started in the fitness industry, and maybe you could like touch upon a point when things just kind of happened for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Initially I'm from Ottawa, Canada, and I'm the youngest of three brothers, and my two older brothers, the oldest one was a massage therapist.
Mm,
So he used to just leave these anatomy books around the house, and with him doing that, I just had this like I don't know. I just had this interest in trying to understand the human body. So I was just reading about anatomy. I was reading about, physiology and stuff like that. Understanding biomechanics actually was my favorite. So just kind of understanding the form and function of how the body works and kind of manipulating that to my own advantage when it came to my exercises, right?
mm,
Yep. The other thing was my other older brother was a chef.
mm,
So, having kind of that duality there with one of my brothers being very knowledgeable about the human body and how it works, and then my other brother being a chef, more of a fine dining type of chef rather than, a nutritionist or anything of that sort.
mm,
Still was enough to kind of just put me right in the middle and learn from the both of them.
mm.
Also, my father he's still vegetarian, but I'm 34 now. He's been vegetarian for about 30, I guess about 34 years because I'm turning 35 this year.
Mm.
And he would always just study nutrition and food and all these different things. So, he would just kind of explain to me more of the nutrition side of the benefits of different foods and stuff like that. And yeah, one day I was taking business administration in college,
Mm.
and my my grades were definitely
Mm.
tanking. So my parents, I think they had paid for that first semester, and they're like, "Listen, if you don't want to do business administration, we're going to support whatever it is that you want to do, but you're going to have to pay for it yourself."
Mm.
So I was like, all right, I've been working out for quite some time. I'm interested in fitness and health. I'll get into fitness and health promotion at Algonquin. And, I made my way through that program and relocated to a different part of town where I ended up meeting a mentor of mine who had his own private gym.
Mm.
And he was the one who encouraged me at the time. I think it was in 2011, maybe. He was
Mm.
like, there's this thing called men's physique. I think you'd be great for it. You got to get into bodybuilding, all these things. And I was like, I don't really want to be a bodybuilder, but I'll do it as long as I can until I stop winning. Like I'll climb the ladder as far as I can until I can't.
Mm.
And I started doing my competitions. I started winning. I was undefeated for some time. I was able to become IFBB Pro, Canada's first world champion. And then
Nice.
I was able to, as a natural athlete, win the Vancouver Pro, which punched my ticket to compete at the Mr. Olympia and represent Canada at the Mr. Olympia in 2015. And then a few months after that, I was able to get to represent Canada at the Arnold Classics as well.
Mm.
And I had done probably about 18 competitions throughout my
Mm.
career. Um, Majority of my competitions as a professional athlete, 100% natural all the way through. And it was tough.
Mm.
It was tough competing at that level natural. But, essentially, I knew when I was getting into the game that this was something that I wanted to do that was going to springboard me into all the things that I'm doing right now currently with my life.
Mm.
And the funny thing is, I'm more of a businessman now than I am, a fitness entrepreneur and whatnot. So things come full circle for
Mm.
sure.
So, doing it naturally obviously is not an easy task, right? Let's be frank here. I mean, what was your, call it, secret sauce, or what tips can you give people that are looking to compete that want to go naturally? Like, how do they raise the bar? What were the things that you were doing that maybe other people weren't doing?
Yeah, I mean, you technically have to outdo your competition in a lot of different ways, which is very challenging considering the fact that these athletes are enhanced that you're competing with. but I never really let that discourage me. And I kind of looked at myself as being on the same playing field as them, irregardless of the fact that they did have a little bit of a step up or a bigger leap up off of me. I
Mm,
just told myself, like, whatever muscle I build and whatever I learn and educate myself with is something that I'm going to be able to essentially impart on my clients later.
mm,
So I'm using myself as a guinea pig. I'm learning about biomechanics. I'm learning about physiology. I'm learning about nutrition. I'm learning about supplementation. I'm learning
mm,
about all these different things and I'm applying them on myself first to see how my body responds. And that's something that I'm going to use, to help my clients reach whatever their goals are.
mm,
So everything in my life was fully regimented. You know, I had no social life whatsoever, like 0%, no girlfriends, not hooking up with nobody. Like I was fully locked in for a good 6 years because I wanted to make history for Canada, and I knew that I had an opportunity to just do that. I feel like I put in a lot of work, but I feel like timing was important too. And I was training 3-hour workouts per day. I was getting 3-hour massages once a week,
mm,
like straight 3 hours straight.
mm,
Suffered a lot of injuries, obviously along the way, but I can look back on my life and be grateful that everything that I did, has come full circle and paid off. And I'll just give the viewers one quote that was so empowering to me when I was doing my 2 hours of cardio a day.
mm,
And it was Muhammad Ali saying, you know, I hated every minute of training, but I said, suffer now and forever live the rest of your life as a champion.
mm,
And that's something that gives me peace when I look back on my life right now is like, holy, I gave so much of my life and my time and my energy, my body, my soul, everything to that moment in time to be able to make history and to be able to put myself in a position of power to become who I eventually have become today.
mm. When you look back now, is there anything with the knowledge that you have now that you would have changed?
Um, you know, I feel like I did everything within my control to be where I'm at now, and there's certain things that were beyond my control at that time that discouraged me from remaining within that
Mm,
industry. I'll just leave it at that. And that's essentially when I decided to make my exit and retire was because I saw certain things and certain people doing certain things, certain ways that were being glorified. And I was like, you know what? I've done what I set out to do. I got to the Olympia stage. I did it naturally. I don't care if people believe that or not. And that will be something that will empower other people. And that's part of what my purpose might have been the whole time. I never went in with the anticipation of I'm going to win Mr. Olympia or anything like that. I never really actually cared for that. It was more like, let's just take this as far as we can and leave the rest up to God. And yeah, and I was able to take it there.
mm.
So yeah, I don't think I would
Is,
change anything.
is there any secrets with your diet or with your mindset or something, some value that you could add people that maybe is a little bit, off kilter or something that you did that maybe other people weren't doing?
Yeah, I think in terms of mindset, I just knew that I would regret um, not trying more than I would regret trying and having failed. Because even when you just try something and you fail, you still learn. And that's something that I didn't understand too much at the time, but it was something that I would kind of like lie to myself about because I was winning. I was undefeated for some time. So for me, I was just like, no, like the best way to learn is to win because I'm undefeated. I'm winning, like you can't tell me anything until I didn't win one show. And I was like, okay, I got to come back harder. Okay. I didn't realize that I was giving 100%, but I'm capable of giving 110%. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So that was a humbling experience that took me one step back, but allowed me to jump, 10 steps forward.
mm,
And my mindset has always just been, I don't know, you just have this one life and you just got to max out. You know what I mean? Like you have to give it your all. And I don't want to be on my deathbed looking back saying that I shoulda, coulda, wish I woulda done more of this or less of that or anything. I want to experience life to the fullest and most. And, I want to be able to do that as an inspiration and as a leader for others to be like, well, Legend did it,
Mm,
and I don't consider myself better than anyone. I consider us all equals. I mean, we all come from different walks of life, and I haven't had an easy life, despite what people might think.
mm.
But I just want to show people, hey, I'm an average guy from a small town in Canada, and I had a dream, and I put in the work, and left the rest up to God, and now my dreams are my reality.
Mm. Tell us a little bit about, like, obviously you were living in a small town. Now you're in LA. For people who aren't familiar, were you basically living in LA and competing in the bodybuilding in Canada? Like, or did you move to LA after you kind of retired?
Yeah, I moved to LA after I retired, and I was in Ottawa till about 2014. I won the World Championships, which gave me the title of World Champ, which also gave me my IFBB Pro card, my Pro card, and I moved to Toronto, and I was in Toronto for about 6 years, where I did the majority of my competitions up until about 2019. And then the
Mm,
pandemic happened. I lost a lot of muscle, still trying to get my muscle back. Girls will tell me like, "Oh, we like the way you look right now," but I'm like, I need to like the way that I look, and you should have seen what I look through. Like I feel like the old guy at the gym now, swiping through pictures. Like this is what I used to look like back in the day. Back in the days, like 3 years ago.
mm,
But yeah, no, I've been living in Los Angeles for about 3.5 years now. Lots of things that I love about Los Angeles, lots of things I love about California. Some things, it's a competitive city, but it's not really competitive, I would say, in the way that you would assume it to be,
mm.
and you have to kind of come here with tough skin and already know what you want. I feel like a lot of people are lost when they come to LA and they think that they're going to find themselves and they end up getting sucked up into some things. I've seen it happen a billion times. What's up, Romani? Sorry, I just see my boy.
Mm.
And that is kind of a dangerous mindset to come here feeling empty and looking for something. But I think it's very competitive here in a way that you're really like alone. You know what I mean? Like I'm a lone wolf, and there's an exception of a few people like Romani here in the comments that are actually like they actually want to see you win. There's a lot of people that I think here in LA that will tell you what you want to hear. Will show you that they're there to help you celebrate your success, but it's not really authentic. It's not really genuine. And that's been the biggest challenge that I've had here is just my mental health, I would say, dealing with people that aren't as authentic and genuine as you may assume for them to be.
Mm. So what brought you to LA? And how are you still able to stay here for 3 years?
Yeah. So I always tell people I didn't necessarily move to America as much as I left Canada, right? So
Mm,
during the pandemic, I was still trying to do everything that I could to work, to make an income. I was doing pretty good for myself. Actually, I think I made quite a bit of money during the pandemic, so I'm fortunate for that. But I just felt like the walls were closing in. I felt like a lot of people in Canada didn't have the mindset during the pandemic of, like this is an opportunity where everybody's sleeping or everybody's stuck. So like, let's penetrate the market and let's just get in there and let's just boss up. Let's max out whatever it is. I feel like a lot of people were like, we don't know what's going on and we're confused. So we're just going to wait for the government to tell us what to do. And that's not who I am. That's not who I've ever been. That's not who I'll ever be. I'm a very against the grain kind of guy. And I saw an opportunity to really elevate myself. And I had an opportunity to get a visa to come to America, and my visa is good for a while right now. So I'm here just making the most out of it. And it's a good kind of pressure because you realize you are on borrowed time.
mm,
And with a lot of people from America that I've met here in Los Angeles, they say like, man, always you foreigners or you Canadians that come here and you guys just take over. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I'm not a complacent individual. You know, I came here knowing exactly what I wanted. I moved to America at 31 years old. Like, I'm not a young cat, you know, trying to figure out who I want to be. I already know who I am. I already know what I want to do. So being able to come here with that mindset, um, you know, has really allowed me to kind of navigate through a lot of the BS
Mm,
here. And yeah, I don't know. It's I'm learning about people and I'm learning about myself every day, man. Los
mm.
Angeles keeps you on your toes.
When you look back at like, your come up into bodybuilding, was there moments and things that you saw that maybe you want to share where you were maybe shocked? You were like, what the, like, I can't believe this is happening. And how did you kind of like push through?
I mean, because I'm not in the industry right now, I feel like I have carte blanche to like say some of the things that I saw. You know, I don't want to go into too much detail, but there was a coach that I saw who's still doing really good for himself right now, I guess. And he was just kind of doing everything that's wrong with the industry.
Mm,
And you know, I just saw him kind of be protected by the association in a lot of different ways. And you know, that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I was just like, this is not ethical in
mm,
any way, in so many ways.
mm,
And, you know, I essentially gave them an ultimatum, which they obviously didn't care about, was like, stick with this guy who's putting a bunch of money into the industry
mm,
and sponsoring all these things and doing things all the wrong way, or keep a star athlete who's promoting natural athletics, who's promoting doing the right thing, who's promoting, you know, treating people how we should all treat each other. So it was one or the other, and you know, they made their choice, and I made mine, and I'm grateful for how things panned out. I feel bad for a lot of the people that are still being affected by that individual. But you know, my life since I've left the fitness industry has taken off for the better, and at the end of the day, I can only really look out for myself and just hope that, you know, justice is served.
mm. Tell us a little bit about your life now and what that looks like. And, for people out there who are essentially maybe, aspiring to be, an influencer and doing the things that you're doing, if you can give us any input, for them, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, my life is really complicated in the sense that, you know, I have like 14 occupations.
Mm,
So, I wear a lot of different hats and it's exhausting most of the time. And it's actually kind of impaired my ability to work out as frequently as I would like
mm,
to. But, you know, the income is good and everything that I'm doing is very like gratifying in the sense that I know that I'm helping people achieve something that might be a dream, or I get to be the hero in some people's lives, or I get to be the bridge to bring two different people or brands or things together. So that's something that I do enjoy about what I'm doing right now with my life in terms of one of the occupations that I have. But yeah, it's a typical day is I wake up, fasted, drink a black coffee. If I'm able to do a workout in the morning, then I'll get my workout out of the way. I usually don't eat my first meal till before bed. And I'm spending my entire day
Let me
taking
just,
phone calls.
I don't like to cut you off, but I gotta just stop you right there. You don't eat your first meal until before bed.
Yeah,
So
yeah, usually around 8,
you,
9 p.m. Yeah,
you fast
yeah,
all day.
yeah. And I've been doing that for about, let's think now. I've been doing that for about 14 years, I would say.
Wow. I'm curious about this. So tell us a little bit about like, what does this meal look like?
It's just a complete meal. So it'll be, you know, it'll be rice, it could be couscous, it could be quinoa, it could be brown rice, it'll be chicken or it'll be salmon. Um, you know, there could be some fruit in there. There's different types of vegetables, protein shake, plant protein shake, uh, creatine in my protein shake, glutamine, collagen.
Mm,
You know, so I try and just jam all of my calories into that one meal before bed.
wow.
And yeah, I don't really have too much of a desire to eat breakfast. I've just always been that way, and I don't do cardio, even though I should. It's just my life is so demanding right now with all the work and what I have planned for myself in the next few months. I just don't have time to do cardio. So I adjust my nutrition, and I feel like because I've been doing it for so long, my insulin, sensitivity is not overly affected in the sense that I wake up in the morning, I don't have any desire to eat. It's more like I wake up, I check my phone, boom, there's already like 10 emails that I have to respond to. There's maybe, 15 text messages I have to respond to. There's phone calls that are already scheduled for the day. I go to a lot of red carpet premieres, so, that's become like part of my life, just hanging out with celebrities and stuff like that
Mm.
in Los Angeles, which is pretty cool. And then I'm shooting content all throughout the day for different brands. My agent gets me, like, I have boxes right here, bro. You can't see, but I'm literally surrounded by like clothes and shoes and whatever you can name. So I'll shoot content all throughout the day, and then I'll spend my evening editing the content. And then I might go to an event, I might go to a premiere, uh, and then I just, yeah, eat my first meal, watch a movie, watch a TV show while I'm eating, while I'm editing, while I'm multitasking,
Mm.
go to bed, wake up, do it all over again.
Nice. So you are going all day having one meal. What's the protein look like in this meal? Like how many grams of protein roughly?
Yeah, I don't really measure or weigh or calculate my food anymore, and I stopped doing that because I just felt like it was creating a really unhealthy relationship with food.
Mm.
But I'm probably below my macronutrient intake still, I would
Mm.
say. But yeah, I couldn't tell you roughly how many grams of protein I'm consuming, That's why I'll substitute with the shake. Sometimes I'll have two shakes and there's two scoops in each. So it'll be a combined 100 grams of protein, that I'm just drinking
Mm.
alone. And then in the meals themselves, it could be anywhere between, 150 to 250 grams of protein too. So
Nice.
yeah.
And are you training clients right now?
No, I've stopped doing the training of clients. I was doing some celebrity training when I first moved out here, and that was essentially just an easy fallback because I had been training people since 20 since 2008 actually. So
Mm.
I had been doing it for a while. So when I moved out here, I was like, I don't know anybody. I don't have any income. The Canadian dollar versus the US dollar is trash. I need to figure something out. So I just fell back onto training people, and then I got into training some celebrities, and I was making a good income for myself, and then I somehow by the grace of God got a dream job that was like in digital media strategy, and that
Mm.
was paying me really, really, really good for a long time until that whole type of project disbanded. But
Mm.
uh, but yeah, I'm not training anybody anymore, and it's something that I love and I'm passionate about. It's just very time consuming, and I don't like to provide like cookie cutter programs. I really like to get into the psyche of my clients, and sometimes people are just not really where they need to be in order to make that step.
Mm.
Even if it's my job to motivate you and inspire you and create a plan of attack, I just found that it started getting exhausting, seeing the same clients over and over again. All right, you're not making progress. All right, I was watching your Instagram and you were drinking at such and such place with a 5-course meal. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, I want to encourage you to live your life too, but I also want to encourage that you have balance in your life as well.
Mm.
So, I just felt like I was babysitting
Mm.
people, grown people. So I was just like, all right, I need another opportunity. And that's when the other opportunities came along, and it was less work and essentially 20x the income.
Mm.
So it was easy to say say no to training people.
Mm. So what's next for you? What's the next, what's 2025 about? You got a goal in mind? Give us some insight.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna sound a little crazy, but I'm just kind of like, I feel like my whole life I've spent trying to add, plus sign, everything. And now I feel like I'm at a point where I've had some really incredible experiences. I feel like I've learned so much about myself. I've learned what I like, what I don't like, and ultimately I want to start subtracting things. You know, like I mentioned, I have 14 occupations, and I would like to bring that down to maybe like four or
Mm,
five at some
mm,
point this year.
mm,
And I'd actually, this is technically an exclusive, but I'd love to move out of America actually really soon and essentially start retiring
mm,
and and I kind of want to get off of Instagram, go off the grid, and just disappear and live a peaceful life, bro.
mm. And what's kind of spawned this? Where is this coming from?
I think it's the intensity of the life that I have here in Los Angeles. It just kind of has aged me very fast
Mm,
in the sense of I've only been here for 3.5 years, but I feel like I've invested 10 years worth of energy and effort into what I'm
mm,
doing. And that's simply because, like I mentioned earlier, I'm on borrowed time with the visa. So it's like, okay, I have a limited amount of time to do it, and I'm just gonna go in 110%. So there's been sleepless nights, there's been 3 hour sleep nights, there's been I gotta drive from this place to there and gotta stay up all night to edit this, or I have to be at five different events in a day. I gotta show face. I gotta, so it's like I've given so much of myself to the game that
mm,
I feel like just so exhausted, so burnt out that I'm like, okay, I'm not even really enjoying this anymore.
mm,
But I could look at my bank account and say, all right, I'm good.
mm.
you know?
That sounds, I've been in LA for 2 months. I come back and forth about 6 months of the year recently. I'm in LA now, and a lot of the people that I speak to, when I'm out and about, they're working like three jobs, to
Mhm.
keep, above water, right? And when you look back now, since you've been here, for a while and you've got this experience, like what would you change or what advice can you give people out there who are hustling, who are like trying to get above water?
I would say pick your friends wisely.
Mm,
Not everybody wants to see you win, especially here. Everyone is competing with you, even if you're doing something completely different. Like let's say I'm a personal trainer in Los Angeles and my friend is doing skits,
mm,
like funny skits, right? At some point in time, there is going to be some some conflict between the two of you and some overlap, so you really need to be hyper aware of who's actually there for you. And I hate to say it, but sometimes in Los Angeles, the only person you can trust is yourself,
mm,
and cutting people off and setting boundaries and protecting your peace is sometimes more important than not having a friend that you can go to the bar with and drink, or not having a friend that you can go and get ice cream with at the beach,
mm,
or having a gym buddy who's going to motivate you to go to the gym. That may not work for everybody. I have an intrinsic sense of self motivation. I have a finish line of what success would look like to
mm,
me. So for me, it's more of like, I'm not going to let anyone get in the way of me achieving that success. I'm not going to let anyone slow me down. And, I've helped a lot of people gain success, but I'm not at a point anymore where I want to invest more time and energy in other people as much as I really feel like I need to put myself first.
mm. What's your favorite book?
Hmm. Uh, that's a good question. Probably The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
Mm, nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who do you like? Who motivates you? What motivates you?
My father.
Nice.
I would say
Tell us
my
about
father.
Give us some insight about your father.
I don't know. Father's my hero, and he hasn't had an easy life either, but he's always, like I know he loves me. I know he believes in me. I know he probably would wish that I was like a doctor or a lawyer or something,
Mm,
but we essentially got onto this fitness journey thing together 14 years ago or whatever it was. And he was by my side every step of the way. And, as I get older and I look at my parents and I see them getting older, you know, it starts to kind of put into perspective of like, I still have to live my life and do what makes me happy, but also I want them in their lifetime to see that, the time and energy, blood, sweat, pain, tears, all that they invested into their son wasn't a waste. I just want to show them that I'm successful. So whenever I talk to my parents on the phone, it's like you could hear they're getting older, or, they have to go to the hospital for this, or they have surgery for that, or whatever it is. It just lights this fire inside of me that just makes me so, like, I guess, angry and upset, but motivated to just go all
Mm,
in. Both my parents are immigrants, and to me, it would be a slap to their face to waste the opportunity and gift that they've given me to come to North America. And there's endless possibilities here. You know what I mean? Like, they did the hardest thing, leaving their country to
mm,
come and, you know, bring me to Canada and then now the US. So, my family is the biggest thing that motivates me more than anything. I
mm,
just want my parents to live a peaceful life, and I want them to just be proud that, they raised someone that's
mm,
successful.
mm. Has there been a moment in your history where, you felt complete in terms of your parents, acknowledging maybe it was winning a show or something that's happened? Has there been a moment where you felt like your parents really appreciated what you've been doing?
I mean, in terms of the psychoanalysis of responding to that question, uh, I know they're happy and I know they're proud, but I guess the way I was raised was more of like reverse engineering your life. So
Mm,
it's like imagining the peak of the pyramid,
mm,
right? And thinking like this is what success is. This is what self-actualization is. This is what obtaining everything is.
mm,
Where am I on the pyramid? Am I at the base? Am I halfway through? Am I closer to the peak?
mm,
So I think it was always a matter of, okay, well, you won this. Now you qualify for this. So that's what's next.
mm,
So there was very, very small celebratory moments in my life.
mm,
Um, and, I see the pros and the cons to that in terms of my mental health, because sometimes you just never feel satisfied. And I feel like that is a very realistic human behavior. But at the same time, it would be nice to finally get to a place where I could just lay back and chill with some mojitos and Latinas somewhere on a beach
mm.
and just know that it all paid off.
Nice. Did you have any questions for myself today before we wrap up?
I mean, I kind of want to know how you got started into everything.
You know, I was about 20 years old. I was working at a nutrition store back in Canada in Vancouver. I was a top salesman in the store, and I think maybe even in all of BC. And one day, an old friend of mine from high school came in to the store. He was working at the tuxedo place across from me, and he asked for a job. And he said, "Are you guys hiring?" And so we hired him, right? And I trained him, and then he became the number one salesman, outsold me, right?
Damn.
And I was like, whoa, like, here I was all high and mighty, and then I saw this
Got
guy
humbled.
outselling me, right? So then, several months later, he decided to move out to Toronto and, pursue his education, went to university, and I basically was seeing some of these brands coming in, and a lot of the guys that were coming in, trying to pitch me their stuff. I felt that they weren't that knowledgeable, and I saw opportunity in the marketplace for, to introduce certain types of quality products. I felt like there was a big opportunity. So one day I decided to call up, my old friend, right, and say, "Hey, listen, I I want to start this supplement company," but I didn't want to tell him over the phone because I knew he's in university, and that would just end in a dial tone. right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like me saying like, oh hey bro, like can you drop out of university and start this company and supplement company? Like be like, yeah, okay, man, click, right? So
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, I'm going to so I said to him, I said, I got this great business idea. I'm gonna get on the red eye tonight, and I want to come talk to you about it tomorrow. And we were good friends, and he's like, "Are you sure? Like, you want to come all the way to Toronto?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to talk to you in person." So, anyways, I flew to Toronto and spent about 7 days hearing no. Finally, broke him down. Right,
Hmm.
got a yes, and here we are, 23 years later, still together,
Amazing.
still in the game, and yeah, it's been quite the ride. And we got a YouTube series out now called Supplement Sharks. If you want to check it out, it's the real story. I got real footage when I was 20 years old getting on that plane
No
in the
way.
Supplement Sharks. Yeah, I kept it. My mom, she keeps every photo, every video, everything. Like it's like crazy.
She's the archive.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we got so many great archives of like the real story, how it all went down. And yeah, it's been quite the ride. So yeah, we just put that out about 6 months ago. There's a few episodes if you want to check it out. And
Absolutely.
yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Maybe that I didn't touch upon or anything, for today?
I I mean, I don't know how many people are still in here right now, if they have any questions, but no, ultimately, I mean, I guess my message really for the people is, don't give up on yourself. And really, if you do have a dream, it's important to find people that understand and actually see the same vision that you have.
Mm,
And even if people don't, as long as you truly believe in yourself and you believe in what you're capable of, I don't see any shame in trying something and failing, because that first failure might be the first step towards you actually finding what's meant for you and what your purpose is.
mm,
I'm fortunate enough to know what my purpose was at a very young age, and I could thank my older brothers for that, for putting me on my path and maybe inspiring me in different ways to become who I am today. So I'm fortunate for that. But I feel like a lot of people go through life trying to find their purpose, and then they feel defeated, and they get to a point where they feel like it's too late to live their dreams, or they feel like they're undeserving of living the life that they want for themselves, or maybe they're too scared, or maybe just uneducated on how. And I just want to be a testament for everyone to be like, no, like Eren Legend had a plan, and he executed all the way through. Even if you guys see, I always say this, for every one success you see on my page, there's 10 failures behind it,
mm,
you know? And Instagram is obviously um, a highlight reel, but I try and keep it real with people and say, like, yeah, man, like I had to try this hard this many times and not give up on myself before I got that one win,
mm,
But I truly believe in the saying that you can't beat someone that doesn't give up.
mm,
Eventually that person's going to win. And you only really need one breakthrough in order to win.
mm,
And I'll actually tell you about Sadiq Kazovic. I don't know how familiar you are with Sadiq, but he was a men's physique Olympia athlete in the earlier times. And I remember I was hanging out with him. We were both part of Team GAT back in the day, and we were at the Arnold's.
mm,
And he already had millions of followers. I think I had like 10,000 followers at the time. And then my other friend, Zach Ainsley, had like 1.2 million followers or something. So I'm like the little fish hanging out with these big bad boys. And I remember telling Sadiq, I was like, man, I just feel so defeated, bro. This was in 2018. And I was like, I'm so tired, bro. Like, I'm doing everything I can. Like, you guys have so many followers. I've been to the Olympia. I've done all these things. Like, what do I do? And he told me, just don't give up, because he said one day, everything that you've ever done will essentially come crashing together like a wave.
mm,
So don't just really focus on that one win. Just keep collecting small wins, essentially, was what the message was, because one day all of those small wins will come to the light.
mm,
And I don't know how religious or spiritual you are, but I had this video on Instagram that went super viral, and that essentially changed my life
mm,
out here.
Mm.
And it's funny because I actually prayed to God for an opportunity. It wasn't like, hey God, blow up my Instagram and give me a viral video. Like it wasn't that direct. But I was just like, God, please give me an opportunity that shines a light on everything that I've done, you
Mm.
know? And yeah, literally like 2 days later, I had that one video. It's pinned on my page there. Went super viral, got me, I think, I don't remember, like 150,000 followers in 6 weeks. And that just brought a lot of attention and energy to my page where people were like, oh, this guy's actually cool. Oh, this guy's doing pretty neat stuff. Oh, this guy's, friends with people that are, already up there and successful. So God answered my prayer. And that was essentially the one win that I needed that would shine a light on everything that I've already achieved.
Mm.
And, that's something that I can speak on in hopes that it inspires other people because, if I had given up on myself after the second time I tried something and failed, then I wouldn't be who I am today. But that perseverance will prevail always.
Mm.
You got to be prepared for it and you have to really be ready when that breakthrough comes because if you're not, then things can fall apart just as quickly as they kind of come to fruition for you.
Mm. On that note, man, that's powerful stuff. Thank you. You've been an amazing guest, and I wish you the best. And you know, stay in touch.
Yeah, you're solid, bro. Appreciate
All
you.
right, man.
And Anabolic State was my favorite back in the day, bro.
Oh, nice. You got to end the podcast with that, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
yeah.
that.
All
All
right.
right, man.
God
Take
bless,
care.
brother.